In today's video, I will be showing you how to sew a waistcoat. In one of my previous videos, I walked you guys through the process of drafting a waistcoat pattern extensively. And if you are yet to watch that video, I will leave a link to the video in the description area below. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time of watching my video, this is Regi School of Fashion. I want to appreciate you guys for your responses and feedback as regards our blazer suit masterclass, which has started already as promised. I will leave a link to the video in the description area as well. Consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't, so that you won't miss any of my subsequent videos. And guys, do you know that putting up valuable content regularly on YouTube is a great task? One of the ways you guys can encourage me to do more is by watching ads on my videos. Please don't skip those ads, because that is the only way I got rewarded here on YouTube. With that being said, let's set the ball rolling. My name is Bolaji and this is Regi School of Fashion. Here is a pattern we drafted in the drafting part of this tutorial, which I've used in cutting out the fabrics and the lining, and I'll be explaining into details how I cut all this. Okay, here is a front pattern, and I placed this on fabric. I cut two pieces for the front pattern, and also I cut out facing in finishing the center front. So this is what I have for the facing. In cutting out the facing, I folded my pattern like so. So I use this part to cut out the facing. You can see I placed this on my fabric and I cut out two pieces for the facing as well. So you can see what I have. Okay, then the remaining part I have by this side, which falls at the armhole side, I cut this out on lining. Okay, you can see what I have. So I cut this out on lining, and I have two pieces for that as well. And also, when you are cutting yours, remember to add the seam allowance of half of an inch at the edges. So when you are cutting yours, remember to add half of an inch of seam allowance at the edges, all the way down from the shoulder line to the hemline, because this is what we'll be using in joining the two together. These two are going together like so. So on the facing as well, I have half of an inch seam allowance at the edges. So don't forget, I cut this out like so. I have it like so. So you can see what I have here. So that is the seam allowance I will be using in joining these together with the lining. So that is for the front panel. And for the back panel, I cut this out on lining. So which means the back panel of my waistcoat will be lining. Okay, if you want yours to be fabric, you can go for fabric. So this is optional. It is not necessary you make use of a lining. But because of the design I have on my lining, so I want this to add to the beauty of the waistcoat. So that was why I cut out lining. And this has to be on fold. You can see here is the center back, and this is what I have at the center back is on fold. I place the pattern, and because I have all my seam allowances added on the pattern already, there's no need of having any markings on the fabric. So you can see what I have. I cut this out and I placed notches at the appropriate places, including the dart point. So make sure you place notches after cutting out your fabric before removing your pattern. This is very important. Okay, and because I will be also needing lining for the back panel, so I cut this out. So this is going to be inside of this. So I will be using this as the main fabric, and I'll be using this as the lining. Okay, I have the same thing cut out on both pieces. You can see. So that is for the back panel. Also, I have 2 straps here which I will be attaching to the back panel. So this is going to be with buckle. So that is the strap that is usually be on the waistcoat. Here is the buckle I will be using in attaching the straps. Also, here I have my buttons. Here are the buttons I will be attaching on the front panel. Okay, so after the buttons, I will be needing a fusible interfacing in order to support the fabric, most especially the front panel of the waistcoat. Okay, it is very important you support your fabric with a fusible interfacing. This will help the fabric to stay well on body. So you can use a cotton, you can use hair stay. Like what I have here now is hair stay. Okay, this is different from the fusible interfacing I used when we were making the safari suit. As you all see that apart from the color, this also comes in white. It comes in 2 colors, black and white. So here is a black and there's another color that is white. So this is a fusing side. This side is a fusing side. So this is a wrong side of the fusible interfacing. So make sure you make use of a quality fusible interfacing so that it will last longer on your waistcoat. In constructing a waistcoat, the first step is to pick the dart. Don't forget, we have our darts drafted on the front and the back panels. As you can see, so I transferred this dart the same way I plotted it on the pattern. I transferred it on the fabric. Okay, so I'll be picking the dart like so. You can see I have that because when I was cutting out the facing, the dart part falls on the facing. When you are cutting yours, if your dart part falls on the lining, so which means you will be picking your dart on the lining. So this is what I mean. This facing and this lining makes a full pattern like so. Okay, so when I was cutting, the dart falls on the facing side. So I will be picking the darts on the facing, 2 pieces on the facing. On the front panel, I will be picking my darts on both sides. Okay. Then on the back panel, I'm using this as a main fabric. So this is what we'll be showing outside. Okay. I have my darts drafted as well. On both sides, I will pick my darts. Then on the lining as well, I will pick my dart. So I'll be taking this to my sewing machine. Now I'll be taking this to my sewing machine and I'll be back to show you the next step. So guys, I've picked the dart on the front and the back bodies, including the linings as well. Okay, so here is the main bodice for the back panel. So here is a dart. Then for the lining, so this is the back lining. I picked the dart as well. Okay, so then when I was picking that for the main fabric for the back panel, I attached one of the strap, which I'll be showing you how to attach the second one as we proceed in this tutorial. Then on the facing as well, I picked the dart on both pieces. Then on the front panel, I picked the dart on both pieces. So after picking the dart, I fused all the pieces, excluding the back panel. Only the back panels I did not fuse, but I fused the facing. As you can see, I used stay in fusing this, and also the main bodies for the front panel, I fused this as well. So after fusing, then I attach a pocket welt. So this is a single pocket welt. In case you don't know how to make this and you want me to make a well detailed tutorial on pocket welt, kindly go to the comment section and write pocket welt. So if I can see a quite number of comments, I will go ahead and make a full detailed tutorial on pocket welt. It's not going to be a single design, but different designs of pocket welts: single welt pocket, double welt pocket, pocket welt with flap, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now I have this. That's the main front panel. Then 2 pieces for the facing. So, and this is part of the inner waist. So this is going to be the inner for the front panel. Don't forget, I cut this out of this. So this and this are going together. Now the next step is to complete the inner facing, so which is going to be the lining. Okay, so I will be attaching the lining together with the facing, like so. Right side facing the right side. There is a piece that will match each other perfectly. So this is going together with this, and this is going together with this, and I will stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance, which I added when I was cutting it out. So now I will take this to my sewing machine and stitch from the shoulder line downward to the hemline, and I'll be back to show you the next step. Now I've joined the pieces together, the facing and the lining, as you can see. So this is what I have after joining. So the next step is to attach the strap. Okay, so this has to be in 2 places, one on the left hand side and the second one on the right hand side. I have the first one fixed, as you can see. Now I will be demonstrating the second one so that you guys can know how to fix this. Okay, so I have my strap cut out. So for the width here, I have 2 inches. So that is if you don't want it to be wide as this. But for this, I use 2.5 inches. So this is a cutout I have for 2.5 inches. So here I have 2.5 inches. And here I have 2 inches. So if you don't want it to be too wide, you can use 2 inches. But as for me, I'll be going for the 2.5 inches. And the length here I have is 13 inches. One strap will be longer than the other. Here is 13 inches. And for this one is 10 inches. So which means this is shorter than this. So after cutting this out, then I'll fold it right side facing the right side. Then I will stitch with 1/2 inch all the way down. Then I will close the upper part like so with 1/2 inch as well. So after which I will trim off the seam allowance. Then I will turn it inside out. Okay, so let's assume I'm stitching right now. So I'm demonstrating this with my sewing pins. Okay, so after stitching, you can see I have the 2 sides open. So I will close one side. It can be the upper part or the lower part, either of the 2. So after which I will now use the opening I have to turn it inside out. After turning inside out, I will give it a good press. So after giving it a press, that is when I can go ahead and attach it to the back bodice. So this has to be attached to the dart point. You can see here is my dart line. So I open this up so that I can insert the strap in between the seam allowance. So that is how you can have a perfect finishing in attaching your strap. So now I will be opening up the dart from the hemline. I will measure 5 inches upward and I will stop on 5 inches points. Which is here. So from the 5 inches point, I will rip off the seam. So guys, I've opened up the seam, as you can see. So here is the dart allowance. Then I will be opening this up at the center. Please take note of this. I'm opening this up at the center and not by the side. So I will cut all through until I get to the 5 inches point. Okay, so when I get to the 5 inches point, I stopped. Then I will construct this. I will stitch the side, turn it inside out, and I will give it a very good press. Then I will be back to show you the next step. So guys, I've stitched the strap. I turn it inside out and I give it a very good press. As you can see, it's looking flat. So the next step is to attach the strap to the back bodice. And just pay a closer attention to what I will be doing right now. The first thing you need to put at the back of your mind is the strap is coming to the center back. It's facing towards the center back. let's assume I've attached this now. After attaching it, I will have it like so. This is the first one, which is the shorter one, and this is the longer one. You can see, and this is the back of the strap. So that is the joining side, is the back of the strap. So the joining side must not be showing on the outer part like so. It has to be facing down like so. Okay, so that is why I will be positioning it right side facing the right side, right side facing the right side. Can you see what I'm having here? Right side facing the right side, and this is going to be on the 5 inches point which I marked out. So for confirmation's sake, I will be marking that out again. 5 inches from the hemline, so which is here. Okay, so from that 5 inches point, I will place my strap. You can see my strap is not above the 5 inches point, it is below the 5 inches point. Not like this, but like this, because the positioning has to align with the former one I've attached. So I will hold these two like so, then I will place this side to cover it up. So I will just pull it outward a little, like 1/4 of an inch. You can see what I'm having. Then I will secure it with my sewing pin. Okay, so the next step is to close up the dart I opened up. So with this, automatically my strap will be attached to the bodice. Then I'll be stitching upward until I get to the open point at the upper part. So I'll be doing this and I'll be back to show you the next step. So guys, the straps are ready. As you can see, I've attached the two straps at the back. This is a shorter one and this is a longer one. Then I will attach the buckle later after the construction. And also the excess I have that is showing outside, I will trim this off like so. Then on the other side as well, I will trim it off. So guys, after attaching the strap, the next step is to join the front and the back pieces together. And I will start with the back panel. I'll be placing the main fabric and the lining together like so, right side facing the right side. The right side of the lining facing the right side of the main fabric. Like so. Then I will stitch on the armhole. That's the two armholes. The two armholes. I will stitch around the neckline. Then I will stitch on the hemline. So I will be leaving the two sides and the two shoulder lines. So which means I'm not stitching on the shoulder lines and the sides. Only the armholes, the neckline, and the hemline. So I'll be stitching with 1/2 of an inch of seam allowance, which I have added. The armhole, the neckline, then the hemline. Okay, so I'll keep this aside. Now to the front panel, which I have two pieces like so. I'll be finishing each of this panel with the facing. That is the facing that I've joined together with the lining like so. So this is going to be right side facing the right side as well. So there's a piece that will match each other. So that is what I'm placing right now. So this is going together with this and this is going together with this. Okay, and I will make sure they both align properly. So after which I'll be stitching on the armhole, the neckline, downward to the button allowance, then to the hemline. But I will not be stitching on the shoulder line and the side, just the way I did for the back panel. I'm stitching on the armhole, I'm stitching on the neckline. Here is the neckline and this is where the neckline stops. Then I will be stitching on the button allowance. So this is where the button allowance stop, which is here. Then I will stitch on the hemline following the shape I have around the hemline, like so. Then I'll be leaving the side and the shoulder line. And I'll be repeating the same process on the second piece as well. I will stitch on the neckline, the button allowance, the hemline. I will leave the armhole in the side. I will be doing this off the camera and I'll be back to show you the next step. So guys, this is what I have after finishing the neckline, the armholes and the hemline of the waistcoat. Okay, I stitch on the neckline. After stitching, I top stitch, I turn it inside out and I gave it a very good press. The same process was applied on the armholes as well, and also the hemline of the waistcoat. So here is the back panel and here is the front panel. So the next step is to join the front and the back panels together, the shoulder line and the sides. In such a way, the seam allowances will be hiding in between the front and the back panels, which means inside the waistcoat we'll be having a neat finishing, and outside the waistcoat as well we'll be having a neat finishing. Please, you have to pay a closer attention at this point, because I will be joining the front and the back shoulders together, and I will be joining this in such a way the seam allowances is going to be in between the front and the back panels. We have a neat finishing inside and outside of the waistcoat. Okay, so now I will be positioning this right side facing the right side, the right side of the front panel facing the right side of the back panel, and make sure you pick the piece that match each other. You can see this goes together with this by the side. So I will hold the shoulder lines together like so. Then I will lift this up, turn it upside down, then insert the shoulder line in between the back panel shoulder line. You can see what I'm having, like so. Then with the opening I have by the side, I will hold the two shoulder lines together inside, then turn it inside out. And I will align the shoulder lines properly. So you can see I have the shoulder lines aligned properly, like so. Then I will secure them together with my sewing pins. So after securing, then I will take this to my sewing machine and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance which I added. After stitching, I will have something like this on the right side. You can see what I have on the right side, and this is what I will be having on the wrong side. Okay, so I'll be repeating the same process on the other side as well. This is the second piece. For the other side, I will join the shoulders together and I'll be back to show you the next step. So guys, I've joined the shoulder lines together, and this is what I have after joining. So here is the right side and this is the wrong side. You can see what I have on the inside of this waistcoat. The seam allowances is in between the front and the back inside. So the next step is to join the sides together in such a way the inside will be looking neat and the outside of the waistcoat will be looking neat as well. So just pay a closer attention to what I'm about to do right now. So I'll open this up like so. So let's assume I wanted to join this in a regular way. I will just hold the two pieces, the front and the back piece, together like so, and I will stitch with the seam allowance. But because I want to hide the seam allowance inside, I will open this up and I will open this up. Okay, so here is the front panel and this is the back panel. This is the neckline area. This is the armhole and this is the armhole. Then I will position the two like so, right side facing the right side. You can see what I'm having. So this is the armhole point for the front, this is the armhole point for the back. I will align the two like so, then hold it fabric to fabric and lining to lining. You can see what I'm having. Then I will pin the two pieces together Then I will pin this together as much as I can. You can see when this gets to a point, the front and the back panel will not meet. So in such case, I will show you what to do. You can see what I'm having here now. So this and this need to meet together. So what I'll be doing is I will just be bringing this to the other side using the opening I have on the other side of the back panel. Okay, so this is the other side of the back panel. So I'll just open this up, then bring the two inside out like so. You can see automatically the two pieces meet together, and I'll continue pinning all around. In case you have any question as regards sewing of a waistcoat, kindly drop them at the comment section. I'll be there to answer all your questions. Okay, so this is what I have. So this is the side of the waistcoat. So now I'll be stitching all around with 1 inch seam allowance. So I'll be stitching all around with 1 inch seam allowance. So after stitching, then I will have something like this. After stitching all around, I will bring it out, and this is what I will be having by the side. You can see what I have, and you can see the inside of the waistcoat. So this is how the inside will look like, and this is how the outside will look like after stitching. So now I'll be showing you how to stitch the other side as well. So let's assume I've stitched this. Then for the other side, just hold the two together like so, as if you want to join this in a regular way. So let's assume I want to join this in a regular way. I'll just hold it together like so, and I will stitch. But I will open this up. This is the back panel, and I will open the front panel up as well. So this is the armhole area for the back, and this is the armhole for the front. And I will open it up and make the 2 points to align properly. You can see what I'm having. Then I will start pinning all around. So when you are pinning or when you want to stitch, make sure you start from the front panel, because we'll be having an opening which we'll be using in bringing this outward. So the opening has to fall at the back of the waistcoat. So make sure you stitch the front panels together first before stitching the back panel. So that is what I'm doing right now. I'm pinning the front panels together first. So that is the front and the back panels by the side. So this is the hemline. I will make sure the 2 points meet. Okay, so now I have to move this in order to align with what I have here. This is coming to meet this right side facing the right side. So I'll just turn this as much as I can. So can you see what I'm having? So here is the hemline. You can see this is the hemline. So I will hold the two together like so. Then pin the hemline first. Okay. Then I will continue pinning the remaining part together, and I will leave about 2 to 3 inches opening. So that is what I'll be using in bringing this outward. So please don't forget to leave the opening, or else there will not be space to turn your waistcoat inside out. So So I have this opening here. So with this opening, I'll be able to bring this outward. So that is after stitching all round with 1 inch seam allowance. So it might not be that easy to turn because I have sewing pins all round. So I will take this to my sewing machine. Please, you are not to do this first. This has to be done first. It starts to be one after the other. After stitching this, turn it to the right side before you pin this together. So I'll be removing the pins. So I will be stitching this first, after which I'll move to the other side and stitch. Then I will be back to show you the final result of our beautiful waistcoat. So guys, I'm done joining the sides together, as you can see, and this is the opening I have left, in which I use in turning this inside out. So I will be closing this with blind stitches, okay, or you can use an hemming tape. But if you are making use of an hemming tape, make sure it is a quality one that will last longer. Okay, so this is what I have on the wrong side. You can see the inside of the waistcoat. You can see how neat it looks, and also the outside. So I have my buttons attached to it. So this is what I have by this side and the other side as well. You can see the side, you can see the dart, and here is the pocket. Then at the back, this is what I have. So here is a strap, and this is the adjuster. It can be called an adjuster or buckle. I've attached this, so this is to adjust the waistline. Okay, so this is what I have for the final look of our waistcoat. Thank you guys for watching this video to the end. If this video has been helpful to you in one way or the other, kindly give it a thumbs up, and also remember to subscribe if you haven't. Let's meet in my next video, where I will be dropping another valuable content from my wealth of knowledge. But till then, always do remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.